Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Well, if you know anything about me by now, you'll probably start to appreciate that I'm a bit like a dog with a bone. I don't like to leave it alone. Here, I want to touch on something that is seldom, I'm going to say, done by me, but I'm going to also suggest probably seldom done by many people using Sketchup. If, as in the last video, I'd made the comment about the struts in this case not being orientated around the default XYZ axes like this one, because this was created in another drawing or another file where I use a specific base upon which to orientate these struts. A very important method of creating these struts. They have to be orientated in the correct geometry for the project. However, when you take them out of that scenario, they wind up with this sort of appearance, where the grouping is, as I was mentioning, not along the normal XYZ axes. But often you'll actually require them to be in that this orientation, and then you can manipulate them so much easier. Now this one isn't. It was just a rotated version of this, but this one now is in the correct, I suggest, orientation as far as the axes go. Why? Well, I can scale it or adjust it much easier and with more certainty in this configuration than I can in this configuration. That these may well be reorientated later on into a similar scenario that this came from still allows the fact that you can realign much easier if the axes are along the axes of the actual item. You don't want this, ideally, to be the situation. So, how do we do that? Well, often what I'll do is I'll just take a copy of this. I'll show you how I normally do it and how you shouldn't do it. I'm going to move that and make a copy. First of all, moving it now, it doesn't know where it wants to be, so this is why I put these surfaces here, so I can use them to orientate things. I take that point and I fix it to something. And the first thing I'm going to do is just circle or arc this round until it is aligned with at least one axis. And now I can just use the surface of the strut to bring it down there. It is now aligned in a default orientation to the drawing program. I select it, explode it, then regroup it, and bingo, we've got the orientation of the axes better aligned for our drawing purposes. Now we have to, oh dear, we have to put it, oh no, I have to now put it back into position. Actually, it's not that hard. But again, you have to repeat this process, and you needn't do it. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about, because of the compound angles. Sorry for the jumping around. The compound angles that this is orientated at means that this now has to be done the same. It's not particularly difficult in this scenario, but trust me, some are in this dome project. So I just realign it with the surface, and again I can use the surface. I'm going to hit shift, which locks it in that orientation. And oh, isn't this interesting? See how already we've got a discrepancy. And this is the point I was making. even though it is simple by my comments, I got it wrong. Why? Because I hadn't zoomed in and there were other angles, because this is a compound orientation, that I hadn't picked up. So I'm not going to do that. As I said, this is not the way to do it. I'm going to do it the same way, the same method as I orientated this. And that is, take that, leave it alone. Now come up here to Tools, to Axes, click on that, and you get this little item here, and I'm going to orientate it onto a point. The easiest point is probably the edge like I have here. Click on it. Now that will initially have my red axes grouped, and I'm going to click this edge. It'll ask, it's set the red axes. I'll come out here for the green axes, and of course the blue one will be automatically set because we've set those two. I can now click out of it. My axes for that model can be reorientated. So if I explode that, click again, make group, we've now got our correct orientation for our item, and it aligns with this. Now you can see this is effectively realigned the whole drawing, because where's our native axes gone, which would normally be down here? And that's one of the things you've got to be cautious of, that you don't go screwing it up for everything else that you're doing. But see how this one doesn't have these axes like this? This saying is that I've set this. I'll actually back out. I'll show you what I'm talking about. We've got our axes back in the correct orientation. This remains in its own orientation. It hasn't adjusted the whole drawing, which you don't want to do. So you've got to be a bit mindful of that, or at least understand that that can happen. That's happened to me several times in the drawing process when I'm adjusting the axes. So you've got to be mindful that if I'm going into a model, I can click on it, come up to Tools, hit Axes, come in here, red, green, that's fine. I can click back out of it. Guess what? It is the same as this, and we haven't changed the global position of our axes. Isn't that good? I'd done that some time ago, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, because I hadn't looked back at the zoomed out position to see that the other axes had disappeared. So again, knowing the requirements of SketchUp, because that's, as I say, I'm impressed with the product. I want to realign this one. Okay, we'll do it wrong again. Red, green. There we go. Fantastic. We've achieved the end. Oh, damn! We've done it wrong, as I said. You don't want to do it that way. Simply click your item as if you're going to regroup it. Come back up to Tools, hit Axes, do the same thing. There's the red, there's the green. That's fine. Now we've got our reorientated axes for the individual item. Simple, isn't it? Quick order, double click, triple click, sorry. Tools, Axes, red, green, it's set, done. How quick's that? And reliable. And you haven't had to move this and introduce, well, time wasting or errors. Very, very simple. Same with these. And now the beauty, okay, well, quickly, I'll just pause it and I'll quickly reorientate this back again. And I made a couple of adjustments. Some beneficial, some possibly not, or something I might have to have a fiddle with myself. Again, this one's been realigned. I'll hide that. Same here. These have all been realigned. I click on this and it looks like, well, it is actually not aligned as we want, not like the struts that I've just hidden, nor this. But if I explode it, we'll find that each of the bracket is aligned in its own orientation, the correct orientation as we'd want, and the pin is also orientated, the axes are orientated correctly. But when we group them, they look okay here, but when we group them, they become misaligned. But so long as the items themselves, because you don't want to scale this or adjust this with this one, so you, of course, you would go into the group and make any adjustments for the individual components. But just so long as, say, this side, and this side have a common axes, and then when you group them, they will retain that, that's fine. This one, with its own axes in combination, when we select them, it makes what appears like this. You can globally change these items, and that's how I normally do it when I'm doing it on the when I'm creating them, and then I save them and bring them into the model that I'm using. But sometimes there'll be, if I just get rid of that, there'll be little items that you'll add post bringing them into a model, like these lines, which I used initially for alignment purposes. They too can affect how your model is grouped and orientated, so be mindful that these shouldn't make too much of a difference, but they will. So just be mindful that, I'm just going to hide everything, grouping things together and them looking like this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you click into it and you're into the group. This is how you wanted it, and if you wanted to rotate it, that's fine, or scale it should you want to. Okay, so select your item, go into the group and click it, triple click it, come up to tools, hit axes, change the axis orientation for each individual item, which I'm going to do with these other ones just to make my life more enjoyable, simpler. Okay, that was it. We'll wander off and we'll see you in the next video.